Let's go. Let's call the meeting to order. And it looks like everyone is in attendance, and so we have a quorum. So can we approve the 7:27 minutes?
We have to
Yep.
make up, okay. A motion to approve minutes as distributed.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Very good. All right, let's go on and we'll do some old business because I don't see Emily Stone here yet. We have a special permit for a home occupation for her, and I didn't think it would take long, but we'll wait a few minutes and see if she joins us. All right, so we've got a lot to do. So let's look at the Mead Road project. We have BNL's recommendations. They reviewed it in October. Did everyone get to see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's start reviewing it. So it looks like the Chazen Group responded to BNL's comments dated May 14th and June 10th, respectively. And on May 14th, there was comments on part 1 of the full environmental assessment form. And then June 10th, there was in the initial review of the site plan application and accompanying documents. And then on 10/5, there was a response from the Chazen Group that was received on 10/5 regarding a full environmental assessment with BNL's recommendations. We received a revised part 1 environmental assessment form, revised sound analysis, and revised site plans from the Chazen Group. And on 10/18, BNL reviewed the revised site plans, the full environmental assessment, part 1, the sound analysis, and Chazen's response to TDE seeker comments. So let's go ahead and we'll look at what BNL had to say. And that document is dated October the 18th.
Oh,
And you all got that, right? I sent it
I'm
to all
looking to
the
see if we can share it.
board members. No, the board members should have it. So first of all, we're going to go on to page 2 of the recommendations. So there is a revised part 1 of the full environmental assessment form, because that's really what we're focusing on. First of all, it's undated and it's not signed by the Chazen Group. And on item D2B5, wetland impacts, they want a response to the question regarding the proposed reclamation after disturbance. Did you all see that? The access road goes right through the wetlands, the federal wetlands.
Is there any way that we can see that?
I'm trying to find it so we could post it. or put
I'm
it up.
not sure how we post it to you.
Well, we can
but, you know,
share it.
I'm gonna review it with everyone. You really have to look at the entire part 1 of the full environmental assessment form, and it's quite a lengthy form. It is 13 pages long. So if you guys want to follow along with full of that part 1 of the environmental assessment form, then we can look at what BNL had to say and what was written on our assessment form. So if you look at D2B5, and I think it starts, D2B5 starts on page. It is on page 6 of 13.
okay. B2B5.
D2B5. As it says, wait a minute. Let me make sure I got it right. D2B. 5. No, it's actually on page 5 of 13. Described any proposed reclamation mitigation following disturbance of the wetland. And D2 is project operations. And I know we talked about that in our December minutes as well. We requested the wetland impacts. And does anyone have questions about that part?
Where exactly are the wetlands that are impacted?
We're going to hold off on the public comments until I'm finished with the analysis, the
Okay.
part 1 of the analysis. I'm not sure that we can show it to you on Zoom, but it's part of the land that we're talking about. Then if we go to E1B. From this form, we have to finish our seeker. We'll do part 2 and part 3. So it's important that part 1 is fully accurate and all inclusive of what we need. E1B talks about land uses and cover types that's on the project. And BNL recommended that the table contains the acreage that contradicts those recorded on the site plan. Please revise this section accordingly. Specifically, there appears to be a significant discrepancy in the amount of agricultural land that would be altered by the project. And I didn't make myself a note as to how much, what that discrepancy was. Does anyone have questions about this part? And Zach or Mike, are you responsible for this part 1?
Yes, ma'am. That's
Okay, so
Chasen's
if
our
you have
consultant.
Yeah, so if you have questions, just
No,
ask them.
no. Okay, yeah, we would just
Okay.
want, we can respond to B&L's comments once we can get them back from you.
We'll send you the whole.
No problem. Yeah, no problem.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Then item E2M, predominant wildlife. So if you look at E2M, it is on page 12. It says identify the predominant wildlife species that occupy or use the project site. We would like a list of that specific predominant wildlife species that likely will use the project site. Then item, any questions about this one?
Would you like me to share this on Zoom or not?
I'm not sure how you would share it, Betsy.
I'll show you.
Okay.
Oh, well, I'd have to be made an alternate host, I guess. You'd have to make me a host.
Can you do that, Jenny?
I can. Would you like me to do that?
Sure, you can go ahead and do it.
Okay.
I have to go let a dog in. Who's scratching up the door?
All right. Well, go ahead then. We'll look at E3F. And E3F is the project site or the portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office Archaeological Site Inventory. So for this, we would like a written documentation from the New York State Historic Preservation Office as evidence of their review of the subject property. Letter of no effect and confirmation there are no known archaeological sites on or adjacent to the property line. Oh, very good.
I'm not sure where you are at the moment, but
I'm on page 13 of 13, but
there you go.
okay. So you can see it's number F there. So of that portion of BNLs, we can go on to the revised sound analysis report. You know, the revised sound analysis report is nicely done. Let me just grab that. It looks like It looks like this. This is the document. I don't know. Betsy, if you can put
I'm
it
gonna
up or
try to
not.
share it. Yes,
Okay.
this takes a minute because I have to find it first.
Okay, so a revised sound study was conducted to assess the impacts of noise during operation, daytime hours, during operation decibel levels expected at the nearest adjacent property boundary produced by transformers and inverters is 27 decibels and 35 decibels respectively. BNL offers the following recommendations based on review of the revised sound study. Construction noise is not addressed in the assessment and should be per the New York State DEC noise policy guidance. And then also please clarify if all the inverters proposed for the project were included in the noise projection or just the nearest inverter to the adjacent property line. All inverters proposed for the project should be included in the assessment. Revise and resubmit if this is not the case. Does anyone have questions about the revised sound analysis report?
No.
No? Then we'll go on to the revised permitting site plans. A review of the plans in accordance with New York State Department of Ag and Markets guidelines dated 10/18/2019 will be completed when construction plans are further along. At minimum, the following elements should be addressed in accordance with the requirements of New York State DAM guidelines. One is add a topsoil and vegetative restoration detail to the plans, indicate the proposed vegetation surface under the solar array panels, provide grass seed mix information. And I know the solar seeker webinar that we went to, John, I'm not sure if you were there last Tuesday. They also talked about what kind of seed mix you should have inside the fence and outside the fence. The following
it.
elements should be addressed in accordance with the requirements for New York State DEC guidance. Could you put yourself on mute, please? Thank you. The following elements should be addressed in accordance with the requirements of New York State DEC guidance stated 2/21/20. Provided detail and or dimensions on the plans depicting the panel spacing. The individual rows of panels should generally be spaced such that the vegetative area receiving runoff is equal to or greater in length than the disconnected surface. That's my phone. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Patty Ritchie's calling. Where was I? Disconnect surfaces, receiving runoff is equal to or greater in length than the disconnected surface. For example, the width of the row of the solar array. Add erosion and sediment control locations and details to the plan set, including general notes for construction sequencing, soil restoration, and site inspections in accordance with the general permit for discharges from construction activities and including phasing plan for 5-acre threshold limits in accordance with the New York State Standards for Erosion and Sediment Control 2016, the Blue Book. Additionally, please revise proposed land type call out under the proposed solar panels as this will no longer be agricultural. All stormwater management practices, locations, and details must be identified and provided in the plans. The following general comments should be addressed on the revised site plans in accordance with the zoning law of the Town of Canton, Chapter 70 of the Town Code of the Town of Canton. The local law to regulate solar energy facilities in the town, Chapter 71, and best management practices for solar facilities. Number 1, please indicate the scale on the site plan drawings. The scale appears to be 1 inch equals 100 feet. Please verify that an easement agreement has been executed for the section of the access drive proposed on the adjacent property to the east of the site. This information should also be on the site plan drawings. Just as another comment, Bill Buchanan is working on this with the Chazen Council. The label for the 18-foot wide section of the access driveway is incorrectly labeled as 20 feet wide. Please revise accordingly. Number 4, the grading plan is referenced on the site plan sheet C130. Please provide the grading plan and details for proposed drainage swale realignment. Number 5, clearly indicate limits of clearing on site plans. There appears to be discrepancies, particularly in areas of proposed tree plantings for screening and proposed fencing along the northeastern corner of the site. Include limits of clearing in relation to where gravel access drive is proposed. Number 6, depict the location and extent of prime soils. Prime soils if drained, soils of statewide importance, and indicate whether the parcel is receiving an agricultural evaluation. Number 7, clearly indicate how the panels are to be mounted. For example, site plan should include a cross-section of any subsurface foundations that will be used for the solar array. In the event that the array utilizes at-grade ballast footers, the underlayment should include a bed of crushed stone, a top monofilament woven geotextile fabric so that the stone can be readily removed from the site when the facility is decommissioned. Number 8, clearly indicate location of all inverters. The location map found in attachment A of the revised sound analysis report depicts a different location of the nearest inverter to the adjacent property. Number 9, clearly indicate where transformer warning signs will be installed. Site plan and detailed notes provide contradicting information. Number 10, details of all major project components should be added to the plan site. For example, battery storage enclosure, PV panels, stormwater practices, etc. Number 11, include a note on the plans including maximum panel height. Number 12, layout plans must be signed by a professional engineer. Number 13, add notes and erosion, sediment, and control devices to the plans to protect delineated wetlands. Number 14, per chapter 71, section E2D of the town code, all means of shutting down the photovoltaic solar energy system shall be clearly marked on the site plan and building permit applications. Number 15, recommend 2 rows of planting space appropriately for mature growth and minimum 2 plant types. Additionally, the proposed tree plantings along the property lines bordering the adjacent rows residents appear to be proposed within the existing brush line. Delineate proposed clearing limits in this area for proposed new plantings. Number 16, the site plan should indicate the type and initial height of the tree for screening, and details should be prepared to meet identified screening needs. A landscape plan prepared by a licensed landscape architect should be included in the site plan drawings. Number 17, the setback to solar arrays meets the minimum requirements per the solar code. For example, 25 feet from property line unless adjacent to residential neighbor where 100 feet is proposed. However, it is unclear if the minimum setbacks are met per the zoning code for the front yard, which is assumed to be parallel to the road formerly known as James Road. For example, 75 feet front yard. B&L understands that access to the site is via an abandoned town road, and access the site within existing right-of-way is being verified by the attorney. It is recommended that the code enforcement officer provide an interpretation to define the front yard and verify that the proposed setbacks meet the requirements of the zoning code for a rural district. Number 18, clearly indicate on plans the location of proposed overhead and underground electric and label all connection points. There appears to be a discrepancy with underground connections shown from the existing utility pole on the Rosewood property to the first proposed utility pole on the site. Please verify that this is correct. That's it for that part. Now, any questions about that part? That was the revised permitting site plans. No? All right. The visual impact assessment. Number 1, perform a visual impact assessment of the proposed solar facility in accordance with New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Guidance Document DEP-00-2 titled Assessing and Mitigating Visual and Aesthetic Impacts, dated December 13, 2019. In conjunction with the preparation of a view shed analysis map, prepare photo simulations that depict the proposed solar arrays in relation to the project site from sensitive receptor locations in all directions. The photo simulation should display the view of current site conditions, the view with the solar panels in place, and the view with vegetation screening in place if the solar panels will be visible from sensitive receptor locations. At a minimum, the sensitive receptor locations from which photo simulations must be prepared must include neighboring properties and Mead Road. Include line of sight profiles and elevation views for each of the photo simulation locations. That's all we have for visual impact. Questions, comments? Okay, stormwater pollution prevention plan. And they call it a SWIP. Is that right? SWIP, SWPPP. Should include a
Correct.
summary of hydrological analysis of pre-development and post-development peak flow conditions and indicate location. Details of stormwater practices required to maintain sheet flow and limit post-development peak flows. For example, level spreaders. Number 2, please provide evidence that the proposed pervious access drive is acceptable to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation on pervious cover. Detail 1 on sheet C530 appears to be a traditional impervious gravel access drive. If warranted impervious, the SWIP must address ongoing maintenance for these post-construction stormwater management practices. Number 3, a description of construction means and methods to prevent disturbance during construction of the piles and security fence is required within the SWIP to verify that the installation of these elements within the wetland will not be considered a regulated activity. Per the 2016 memorandum on federal regulations of solar arrays and wetland from USACE, although installation of piles driven into wetlands without grubbing of soil is not considered a regulated activity, mowing of vegetation within wetland area is considered to be a regulated activity. The plan should clearly delineate the limits of proposed vegetative cover and maintenance limits for mowing. Number 4, include information on the SWIP describing existing and proposed cover type as well as maintenance proposed vegetative cover. Seed mixes and application rates should be indicated within notes on the plan. That was it on the SWIP. Questions, comments? Okay, hearing none. Operation and maintenance plan. Number 1, the operation and maintenance plan must specify the minimum number of inspections required for all site maintenance procedures. Number 2, a maintenance plan and schedule for inspection must be included for the stormwater structures for the lifetime of the solar facility and included in the SWIP. Number 3, please identify the stormwater practices used on site and identify common issues for each practice. For example, excessive vegetation, types of erosion, sediment accumulation, etc., and how these items will be rectified when encountered. And then number 4, please specify how and or when the site will be monitored for erosion. Number 5, the operations and maintenance plan should be updated to include maintenance activities and frequency for all proposed stormwater practices. Additionally, the plan should include a map indicating the limits of maintenance for the site operator owner. Finally, the plan and corresponding maintenance agreement should list the responsible parties for undertaking maintenance and including contract details. A copy of the maintenance agreement should be provided to the board as a condition of final approval. Questions on that piece? Okay, the decommissioning plan, there's 3 items. Per chapter 71, section E4B3 of the town code, please include photographs or archival color images of the proposed site plan area as required by town code. Such information must in aggregate adequately portray the entire property for the purpose of future reference when soil and vegetation remediation of the property occurs. Number 2, a detailed itemized decommissioning cost estimate must be prepared that is based on the actual quantities of equipment and materials that will be removed from the site. For example, solar panels, mounting racks, and steel supports, and the associated labor costs to dismantle the equipment and load it onto a haul truck for transport to a permitted disposal facility. The cost estimate must also include the associated equipment rental fees, hauling, and material disposal costs, for example, tipping fees. The decommissioning cost estimate must be based on the use of prevailing wage rates in the event that the applicant abandons the project and the town needs to put the decommissioning work out for public bid. Number 3, the amount of the decommissioning bond or financial security provided to the town of Canton shall be equivalent to 125% of the estimated cost to conduct site decommissioning and site restoration activities and include an escalator of 2% annually for the life of the proposed solar facility. Therefore, please revise the decommissioning cost estimate accordingly to incorporate these requirements. Questions on the decommissioning plan? No? All right, then there's additional information and anticipated permits coordination. In addition to the items noted in the comments above, B&L anticipates the following information or documents be submitted in support of the application. 1, the pilot agreement if applicable. 2, local and state permits as required included for work performed within the highway or right of way. Please note that utility poles, signage, parking, etc. should be located on private property and not within the right of way. 3, confirm whether NYSERDA funding is being used for this project. Applicants should be advised that for NYSERDA projects, submission of the NOI to NYSERDA will be required for referral to Ag and Markets. Number 4, provide a letter from the Town of Canton Fire Department acknowledging receipt of the plans and verifying approval of proposed access for fire and emergency vehicles. And number 5, provide equipment specification sheets and photos for all significant components of the proposed solar facility, including the mounting systems. And then that's it for that part of the plan, the permits, and says, please provide the above reference information at your earliest convenience for efficient review of subsequent materials. B&L request an itemized response to the comments provided herein. If you have any questions, we'll contact them. Questions from anyone? All right, I'll need a motion to approve B&L's recommendations to send it off to the Chazen Group. Does it go to Chazen or does it go to you, Zach and Mike?
It would probably go to all of us, I guess. But
All of
If you wouldn't mind sending it to all of us, that would be appreciated.
Who's all of you?
Sorry, Mike Fingar from US
Guys.
Light Energy, Zach Lassard from US Light Energy, and Bill Chazen, or sorry, Bill Sparkman from Chazen Associates.
Bill Sparkman, and then you too?
We can send that to you in an email if you'd prefer.
All right, that would be great. Thanks, Mike. All right, I'll entertain a motion if no one has
Oh,
come.
so moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So the only other thing that I have on the Mead Road project is a note from Bill Buchanan, our solar attorney. And it was really just an email saying that he's in correspondence with the council. It looks like they're moving in the right direction for an access road with cooperative extension. Does anyone have any questions about it? Any comments from the public?
Can I ask a question at this time?
Sure.
Just to clarify, where is the access road?
I'm sorry.
The access road, where is it?
It's the it's going to be built and it's part, and I can't bring up the site plans. Betsy, I don't know if you can. It's in the revised site plans.
It's the road in front of the Rose's business.
Oh, it's coming in from that way, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
We just are looking at the map and we have a general idea. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, it's on the Cornell Cooperative's property.
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Yeah,
It's the Cornell Cooperative Extension's property. And they're just,
Correct.
they're in the process of getting an official letter from Cornell saying that they have access. There we go. Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you.
I think, is it on the next? It's hard to see. There you go. Maybe that one shows a little bit better. Not sure that that helps or not. Any other questions or comments about the Mead Road project?
Debbie, I have a question.
Sure.
Can we get copies too of these recommendations and the site plan changes?
I'm not sure if they're for public. They're for the public, yeah. I would have to ask our consultants
Okay,
to see if we
'cause this-
can, and see if we can put them up right on our website or not. That's not something I can approve or disapprove.
okay, because this is
Okay,
still,
Jim?
this is still impacting our property, on three
I
sides
under-
still.
I understand that. We're a little early in the process. We still have quite a bit of work to do to get this formalized and completed. Maybe Jenny, you could follow up on that. I'm not sure to who, maybe our solar attorney, I don't know. Anyway, any other comments or questions regarding Mead Road?
Unmute. There we go. I will follow up with the attorney first, our regular attorney, and see if he
Okay.
recommends me contacting Mr. Buchan or not.
All right, it's just regarding, can we put up the recommendation?
Absolutely. I'll find out. I can work on that
Make
tomorrow.
it public, because I just don't know. All right, so are we ready to move on to Route 11?
Just wanted to say thank you, everyone. It's nice having the chance to meet you or see some of you again, and we'll be back next month.
I hope so.
thank you.
Take care. Thank you, both
Thank you.
of
Have
you.
a great night.
All right, Route 11. So the first thing I think we have to do with Route 11 project is declare the intent to be the lead agency.
Right.
So I revised the seeker resolution declaring intent to be lead agency from the Mead project. And I think we can use the same format, but it has to all the agencies. So I'm just going to read it to you. Whereas the Town of Canton Planning Board, hereinafter referred to as Planning Board, has reviewed the seeker full environmental assessment form, EAF Part 1, prepared by TJA New York Canton Solar Site. I'm not sure that that's their official name. Herein referred to as the applicant, regarding an application for a proposal of a 5 megawatt alternating current AC solar power generation facility. And whereas the planning board determines that said action is classified as a type 1 action under the state environmental quality review regulations, and whereas the planning board determines that said action is also subject to review and approval by other involved agency under seeker regulations, and whereas the planning board determines that it's the most appropriate agency to ensure the coordination of this action and will provide written notification to involved agencies for the purposes of conducting a coordinated review and making the determinations of significance thereon under the seeker regulations. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board does hereby declare its intent to be designated as the lead agency for the action. Be it further resolved that the town attorney, the town's consulting engineer, if any, the town clerk, and or a member of the town administrative staff is directed to provide notice hereof to the involved and interested agencies seeking their agreement or objection thereto in writing on or before noon on November 30th, 2021. The above resolution was offered by whoever wants to make a motion to approve it, I can do so. We'll put your name in there and seconded by. So this is just our resolution declaring to be the intent, declaring to be the lead agency for seeker on Route 11. So I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Okay, so moved.
I'll second.
And second, all those in favor?
Aye.
How
Thank
many
you.
megawatts is that?
This one is 5.
5.
Okay,
It's a smaller one. So Jenny, who sent it all out for the Mead Road project? There's a whole list of agencies this has to go to.
I believe Mike did it, but I can coordinate with you to get it done.
Okay.
Just
there's a
get me
bunch.
get me the resolution. I will follow up and make sure that it's filled out properly and everything's how we need it. I think I have to
Okay.
sign it as the secretary of the planning board.
You do.
And
And
then-
actually, this form needs to be revised because I just used the Mead
Right.
Road one to include this data.
Yep.
All right.
So I'll make
Okay.
sure that that gets done. Just send me what you need me to do and I'll work on it.
Thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right. So now let's look at B and L recommendations for Route 11 solar project. And that was actually the first time they sent the recommendations out. It was to Mike on July 27th. And then when we had our meeting in September, when we had our educational session, B and L, John Codinas, distributed that document to each one of us
Mhm.
in our notebooks. Do y'all have that?
Yep.
Okay. This doesn't seem to be quite as lengthy as the Mead Road project. So I'd like you to follow along with the seeker part 1. So we all get a little familiar with the seeker project. Because as I said, we're going to need it to do part 2 and part 3 of the seeker form, and that's going to be our requirements. So first part is section B, government approvals. And it's on page 2 of part 1 of that full environmental assessment.
Yep.
And all we need for this part of it is just to check no if those agencies are not required. And then we go to D2B, wetlands and surface areas. All right, so he wants, B and L is recommended that they, underneath B, it's about project operations. And it's identify the wetland or water body which would be affected by name, water index number, wetland map number, or geographic descriptions. And they have in there federally regulated unnamed wetlands and one federally regulated stream. So B&L is recommending that they add the stream disturbances in the sub questions D2B2, if any, for the access road crossing. And then question D2L. Wait a minute. D2B5, I think is the next one. And then they need to answer that question. Please describe any proposed reclamation mitigation following disturbance. And that again is about project operations. And then we go to B2L. And that's hours of operation. And in their operation and maintenance plan, they list their constructions hours as 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., which is different than what they have in their part 1 of their environmental assessment. They have 8 to 5. So they just need to make sure that they all match up. And then on the next page, page 8 at the top, it's number M1. Again, add the, it's providing, it's about the noise analysis, and they need to add the noise associated with the solar array inverters, and also to clarify the hours of operation because they have 8 to 5 there as well. And then underneath M2, it says, will the proposed action remove existing natural barriers that could act as a noise barrier or a screen? And BNL is recommending they confirm whether tree clearing is being proposed. We still have lots. And then we go to E1A. Please confirm that all existing land uses on the entire project site are accounted for. Describe the mix of land uses. So going on with that, they need to explain how the construction of the solar facility will result in the creation of 13.58 acres of meadows when the project, according to this table here on E1A, or excuse me, B, says there's no meadows, but then they have it as, once they complete the project, there's going to be 13.5 acres of meadows. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the total number of acreage needs to add up to 82 acres and it doesn't. So they have 44 acres of wetland in E2H, and I don't know how many acres of forest they're talking about, but this table is incorrect. And they just need to make that correct. And then if we go on to the next page, so we're still on E1, E1D. Are there any facilities serving children, the elderly, people with disabilities, schools, et cetera, within 1,500 feet of the project site? And they said no, but BNL said they think they're within 1,500 feet of St. Lawrence Health System's campus. So they need to check that out and make sure that either they are or they aren't, and upgrade this appropriately. E1. Oh, now we're going to E2. E2F. The site plan calls out for steep slopes greater than 15% on their site plan, but this says it's 0 to 10%, so it's not an agreement. They have to make it an agreement, whatever it is. And then we go on to E2H5, where it talks about surface water areas. Are any of the above water bodies listed in the most recent compilation of New York State water quality impaired water bodies? Has the ACOE, and I forgot what Army Corps of Engineers visited the site and accepted the wetland delineation limits indicated on the site plan drawing? So they have to, give us something from Army Corps of Engineers about the wetlands. Then on the next page, we are E2O. This is the endangered species of plant and animals, and we're recommending they provide written documentation from New York Natural Heritage Program regarding no threatened or endangered animal or plants are in this proposed site. So page 13 to 13, yay, we're on the last page of this. Number E, it says, does the project site contain or is it substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site or district which is listed on the National or State Register of Historic Places, or that has been determined by the Commissioner of the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Places? The BNL says, please provide written documentation from New York State Historic Preservation Offices that they have reviewed and approved this project. And then under number G, have additional archaeological or historic site or resources been identified on the project site? They have listed no in there, and BNL says revise if needed from New York State Historic Preservation Office results. And that was it on part 1 of their environmental assessment survey. Shall we move on? Any questions about it? Like I said, it does have to be complete and as accurate as possible for us to do what we have to do. after this. All right, so then we have the visual impact assessment for Route 11. And BNL says applicants should perform a visual impact assessment of the proposed solar facility in accordance with New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Guidance Document DEP-00-2 titled Assessing and Mitigating Visual and Aesthetic Impacts dated December 13, 2019. In conjunction with the preparation of the view shed analysis map, the applicant should prepare photo simulations that depict the proposed solar arrays in relation to the project site from sensitive receptor locations in all directions. The photo simulation should display the view of current site conditions, view with the solar panels in place, and the view with vegetative screening in place if the solar panels will be visible from sensitive receptor locations. At a minimum, the sensitive receptor locations from which photo simulations must be prepared must include neighboring properties and US Route 11. Include line of sight profiles and elevation views for each of the photo simulation locations. Any questions about the visual impact assessment recommendations? Moving on then. The glare analysis. BNL does not feel that a glare analysis is necessary given the proposed remote location of the proposed solar facility. Noise analysis. Do you, any questions about the glare analysis before I go on? No? No? Okay. Noise analysis. Noise producing equipment such as substations and inverters shall be located to minimize noise impacts on adjacent properties. The setback of such equipment from property lines should achieve no discernible difference from existing noise level at the property line. Number one, BNL requested a sound study be completed to estimate the noise levels generated from the inverters at the nearest property line to demonstrate that the noise impact associated with the operation of the solar facility is not an issue for neighbors. The noise analysis should be performed in accordance with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Noise Program Policy, which can be found in that link. The New York State DEC program policy documents addresses the calculation of noise attenuation and the significance of increased noise under seeker. Any questions about the noise analysis? I don't think it produces a lot of noise. Well, it's good to know. Stormwater pollution prevention. Solar panels are currently proposed to be mounted directly to the ground, and this project will involve disturbance of more than 1 acre. Additionally, if the project includes construction of impervious areas, for example, a gravel drive and concrete equipment pad, the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, SWIP, must address post-construction stormwater management controls for those areas. Therefore, the applicant should prepare a full SWIP for the project's site in accordance with the requirements of New York State DEC SPDES, which is State Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, general permit for stormwater discharges from construction activity, and the New York State DEC's memorandum on solar panel construction stormwater permitting, SWIP guidance dated 2/21/20. In addition to all the required SWIP components detailed in Part 3 of the SPDEC permit, please include the following: information describing existing and proposed cover type, as well as maintenance of proposed vegetative cover. B, soil testing results as required depending upon proposed stormwater management practices. C, hydrologic and hydraulic modeling demonstrating the post-development peak flows are equal to or less than pre-development peak flows for the 1 - 10 - 100 - year storm events. Calculations showing that all water quality and runoff reduction volume requirements are met. Please use the green infrastructure worksheets available from New York State DEC websites to complete these calculations, provide supplemental calculations and or narrative as necessary. Calculations confirming the adequate sizing of the vegetative and dry swales, operation and maintenance manual for all permanent stormwater management practices, completed notice of intent, construction sequencing plan, including phasing plan for land clearance, stabilization and installation and vegetation. New York State DEC guidelines for decompactation. All correspondence between regulatory agencies regarding land disturbance. A description of construction means and methods to prevent disturbance during construction of the piles and security fences required within the SWIP to verify that the installation of these elements within the CNS screen wetlands will not be considered a regulated activity. Per the 2016 Memorandum on Federal Regulation of Solar Arrays in Wetlands from USACE, although installation of piles driven into wetlands without rubbing of soil is not considered a regulated activity, mowing of vegetation within wetlands areas is considered to be regulated activity. The plan should clearly delineate the limits of proposed vegetative matter, cover, and maintenance limits for mowing. Questions on stormwater pollution prevention plan? I'm starting to go hoarse. Wow. Any comments or questions on it? Okay. Site plan drawings. In general, the submitted site plan drawings and documents should be reviewed against the following guidance documents and updated accordingly. New York State DAM guidelines for solar energy projects, construction mitigation for agricultural lands. Revised 10/18/2019. New York State DEC's memorandum on solar panel construction stormwater permitting SWIP guidance dated 2/21/20. A review of the site plan drawings in accordance with New York State Department of Ag and Markets guidelines dated 10/18/2019 will be completed when construction plans are further along. At minimum, the following elements should be addressed in accordance with the requirements of New York State Department of Ag and Markets. Include the following general note on the construction plans: topsoil sampling, stockpiling, spreading, seeding, and site restoration to be performed in accordance with New York State Department of Ag and Markets guidelines for solar energy projects construction mitigation, revised 10/18/2019. Number 2, all buried utilities located within the generation facility security fence must have a minimum depth of 18 inches of cover if buried in a conduit and a minimum depth of 24 inches of cover if directly buried. Utilities located outside the generation facility security fence should meet specifications outlined in the above referenced guidelines. Please revise the site plan drawings to include electrical conduit trench details and or buried utility notes. Number 3, please revise site plan drawings to clearly indicate staging and stockpile areas. Number 4, proposed vegetative surface under solar array panels should be indicated, as well as grass seed mix information. Please revise site plan drawings to include topsoil and vegetative restoration details and or notes. The following elements should be addressed in accordance with the requirements of New York State DEC guidance dated 2/21/20. Number 5, provide detail and or dimensions on the site plan drawings depicting the panel spacing. The individual rows of panels should be generally be spaced such that vegetative area receiving runoff is equal to or greater in length than the disconnected surface. For example, the width of the row of the solar array. Number 6, add erosion and sediment control locations and details to the site plan drawings, including general notes for construction sequencing, soil restoration, and site inspections in accordance with the general permit for discharges from construction activities, and including phasing plan for 5-acre threshold limits in accordance with the New York State Standards for Erosion and Sediment Control 2016 Blue Book. Additionally, please revise proposed land type callouts under the proposed solar panels, as this will no longer be agricultural. Number 7, all stormwater management practices, locations, and details must be identified and provided in the site plan drawings. The following general comments should be addressed on the site plan drawings in accordance with local zoning and best management practices for solar facilities. Number 8, please revise site plan drawings to include tax maps information for the subject property and adjacent properties. Number 9, indicate on site plan drawings where tree clearing and grubbing activities are proposed. Per town code, removal of trees and other existing vegetation should be minimized or offset with planting elsewhere on the property. Number 10, per town code and New York State Department of Ag and Market guidelines, removal of any prime agricultural soil from the subject property is prohibited. Clearly indicate this requirement with notes on the site plan drawings. Number 11, per town code, roadways within the site shall be constructed of impervious materials and shall have a maximum width of 16 feet. The initial approximately 660 linear feet of proposed gravel drive is shown as 20 feet wide. Please revise site plan drawings to show a maximum gravel drive width of 16 feet and provide evidence that the proposed gravel drive is acceptable to New York State DEC as pervious cover. Detail A3 on sheet C-501 appears to be a traditional impervious gravel drive. If warranted impervious, the SWIP must address ongoing maintenance for these post-construction stormwater management practices. Number 12, please indicate the size of the emergency contact sign, detail A1 on sheet C-503 per town code. The sign should not exceed 12 square feet. Number 13, per town code, a clearly visible warning sign not to exceed 4 square feet concerning voltage must be placed at the base of all pad-mounted transformers and substations. Please revise site plan drawings to reflect this town requirement. Number 14, per town code, all means of shutting down the photovoltaic solar energy system shall be clearly marked on the site plan and building permit applications. Number 15, please include wetland delineation information on the plans, for example, date and name of professional who undertook the delineation. Add notes on erosion, sediment, and control practices to the plans to protect the delineated wetlands. Number 16, include construction sequence notes on the site plan drawings. Number 17, include a phasing plan for site disturbance if it is anticipated that more than 5 acres of disturbance will be occurring at once. Please note that disturbing greater than 5 acres of a time is a discouraged practice. Stabilize one area before disturbing more than 5 acres at a time. Number 18, please indicate what the land use plans are for remaining portions of the property situated outside the fenced area. Will this portion of the site remain a conservation area? Number 19, how will the entirety of the site be permanently stabilized? Please include details for final stabilization, surfacing within the fenced area, under panels, and in cleared areas outside of fencing. If multiple stabilization methods, seed mixes, etc. are proposed, please revise the site plan drawings to show limits of each. Number 20, details and locations of all major project components should be added to the plan set. For example, battery storage enclosure, inverters, stormwater practices, etc. 21, provide a detailed plan for the equipment pad area showing proposed layout dimensions and general location of all features. 22, please include label and existing contour shown on sheet C-102. Indicate plans for grading and drainage showing existing and proposed contours. Show any steep slopes that may be present within the limit of disturbance and call out the appropriate erosion control practices used to protect these areas. 23, if applicable, show any temporary grading required for erosion control practices such as swale and flow diffusers. 24, indicate in the site plan drawings the locations designated for the soil stockpile area and the layout area. 25, proposed perimeter fence should not limit the movement of small animals, for example, turtles, snakes, small mammals, etc. A minimum of 6-inch spacing is recommended between the bottom of the fence and ground. 26, provide the dimensions of the proposed access driveway and corresponding turning radii. Verify that the proposed access road provides sufficient access and turning movements for emergency vehicles. 27, the site plan drawings must be signed by a professional engineer or a registered architect. Oh, wait a minute. I think that's it. Oh my gosh. Questions, comments?
Good job, Deb.
Wow, I'm getting
A
hoarse.
lot.
If you have no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion for approval to forward B&L's recommendation to the CNS engineers on behalf of TJA Clean Energy.
I'll make that motion.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Was that Bill or John?
Bill,
That was
Bill
Bill.
made it and John second.
yes,
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Thank you. Carrie, then we're done with any comments from the public on Route 11. All right. Yeah, we're getting close to being done. Let's go ahead and we'll review this special permit from Emily Stone. Do y'all have that?
Don't get it.
So Emily Stone, I believe she lives on the Boyden Road, on 178 Boyden Road, which is a rural zone. It's number 70-24 in our zoning book. And it is a special, it's permitted with special permit. It's on page 7019 on our zoning book. And then under home occupations, which is on page 7053, it's number 70-63 under home occupations. And I just want to open that up. It says, and I wish she was here so we could ask her questions. There we go. It says that, and I don't know that we can go over this because I don't know what percentage of the first floor. I know it's in her bedroom, what percentage it is of the total square feet. Giving the calculations on her diagram there, it looks like it's 110 square feet. But according to our zoning law, it can be no more than 25% of the first floor area, not to exceed 500 square feet. So I'm assuming that it's probably, this 110 square feet is probably less than 25% of the first floor, but she needs to confirm that. Do you know, Jenny? Do you know anything about this?
Sorry, I
No.
was trying to unmute myself.
Okay, do you know anything about this?
I
Or
do
it is
not.
just on your desk? Okay,
It was just something Rusty left on my desk. That's the information that I have is what you have.
all right. So when
Well,
I,
you can't, Deb, you can't really tell from the map that's drawn here, what the real
Right.
dimensions are.
no, you can't. No, you
No.
can't. She needs to answer that question, but I think we can go on with this permit process anyway. I looked at the seeker, if it required a seeker or not, and it's a type 2, so there's no action that's required.
Mm,
And I also looked at the St. Lawrence County Planning referral, that one pager that I gave everybody. It said that there's no action required. It doesn't have to go to St. Lawrence County Planning Board, but it does need to go to a public hearing. And we can do a public hearing next month.
mhm.
Does anyone have questions about this? I don't know that I can answer it. This is all I have.
So the only problem would be the percentages, correct?
Right. But it's definitely less than 500 square feet. But we also need to know, you know, where she plans on storing her material and if she plans on having a sign and how big the sign is going to be. So Jenny, if you would reach out to her to come to our next meeting so we can get those questions answered about signage and square feet. And we can go ahead and have that public hearing.
Can we do that all on the same night to get?
I
it
hope
going?
so.
Should.
I hope so. I think we can do it all together.
It seems unlikely that 110 square feet is going to be more than, or, you know, more than 20% or whatever it's supposed to be.
It's 25, yeah, I agree, Betsy. I don't know if I need a motion to move this forward or not. We're not gonna take any action on it until next time.
Do we need a motion for a hearing?
Hearing?
Yes.
We do? All
Yes.
right, then I'll entertain a motion for a public hearing for this special permit application.
I make a motion.
Thank you, John.
I'll
Second it.
second.
Whoever.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so we're done with that. All right, now, I was appointed chair on September 29th. And I would really like John Casserly to be my co-chair. So I need a motion to elect him as our co-chair.
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
And
John.
all those in favor. I'm not
Yay.
doing
Aye.
it myself, right?
Aye. Did John vote on
Yeah.
this?
Yay.
Aye.
Yay, yes, I like company. All right, then let's look at these. I put down a whole bunch of meeting times up through May. It's the third Tuesday of the month. Does that work for everybody?
Yep, it works for me. I'm glad we're having a monthly meeting.
Yes, that works for me.
It can work most months for me. I might occasionally have to teach a class on one of those nights or something, but I won't know until we get closer to the time.
Would it
Okay.
be possible to do the second Tuesday instead of the third?
probably.
It's
Does that
okay
work
by
The
for
me.
reason I'm saying it, I have my Zonta meetings on the third Tuesday.
Okay. Does
But
that
that
work
doesn't
for
mean
you?
that- But I could always work out one way or another, you know. I was just asking if we're arbitrarily, I'm with you, John. I like the fact that we have a monthly meeting and we know when it's going to be and whatever.
Mhm.
Right.
If the second Tuesday would work for people, I would appreciate that. It would be helpful. But it's not prohibitive for me to keep it where it is, Deb.
I'm okay with second Tuesday.
Yeah, that's good for me too,
Bill?
because I have something the third Wednesday, so.
Okay,
I was
About-
just checking my calendar. It looks like the second or third works for me. The first does
Great,
not.
great. Oh, that would be great,
Good.
guys. I'd
All right.
appreciate
all right,
it.
there you go. So
Yay!
does 7 o'clock work for everybody? Or do you
Yeah.
want it earlier or
7 o'clock
later?
is good.
Well, are
Nope.
we, so what's the deal? Are we zooming for the foreseeable future, guys?
I don't know.
Or we just don't know yet? Okay,
As of right now, the building has been put out of commission for most meetings unless you only need 2 or 3 people to get together real quick. So yes, they've requested that all meetings be Zoom for the foreseeable future.
okay.
We
But
could
that could
probably
change
meet
at
up at
any time.
Extension.
Am I missing something? What happened? Are we allowed to ask?
It was just the increase in COVID cases
Okay,
in the county.
gotcha. Okay.
And that started about
I mean,
a
I
month ago.
assumed that,
Yeah.
Jen, but okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
So
You-
all the
it's
dates have to
possible
be
you-
changed.
You could meet at Extension. If you decide you want to have an in-person meeting,
I'm happy with the Zoom.
Oh, thank you, Betsy.
yeah,
You know.
if it's available.
Does 7 o'clock work for everybody, second Tuesday?
Yes,
So you have to change all the dates now too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah, we'll take on
That's
this.
all right.
but that's great. So.
Does that work for you, Bill?
It does. I mean, 6 o'clock might be better, but I don't want to impose that if everybody else is.
I can't
can
make
do
it by
6.
6.
6 is good for me.
The 6th work for you guys?
That's hard for
How's
me,
that
just,
work
I
for you?
can't get home from work and take care of the animals and
Okay,
Okay, let's leave it at 7.
yeah, yeah. We'll leave it at 7 then.
Okay.
So
official.
Seven on the
Jenny,
second Tuesdays, that would be great.
then we just know. Jenny, do you want to go ahead and post them all publicly saying this is when we're meeting? We're right up through May,
I will,
second Tuesday of the month.
absolutely.
So we'll have another meeting on November 9.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll have, well, yeah, we should be able to do the special permit anyway. I don't know if we'll have anything else.
What is
it's okay,
the,
let's do that and get it over with.
what is the hearing? What is the lead time for hearing again?
10
Because we
days.
need a public hearing.
10 days?
10
Oh, so we
days.
have that. So we could do it on the 9th. We could do that special permit, including the public hearing, correct?
Mhm.
Let me check tomorrow and make sure I can get it in the paper because their dates are funky. I just like they put it off. If you don't put it in by a certain date, you have to wait a whole week.
Oh, okay.
So
okay,
let me make sure I can get it posted in time for the 9th and I'll let Deb know.
Okay.
And
Wonderful.
Jenny, can you just post it on the website?
Oh, well, it has to be in the paper too for a public hearing.
It does?
It
Okay.
does. 10 days in the paper.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Anything else that you guys want to discuss? That was a lot.
I'm looking forward to seeing some of the photo simulations, really of what this looks like. So
Yeah.
that we can really see, I mean, especially for the roses on the Mead Road project and whatever, and really see what this actually would look like for them and rather than just look, I mean, I look at the plans, I look at the things, I try to visualize, but if you're standing there at their property, what does it really look like? And what's the vegetation going to do and how's it going to block
Right.
and how is the, all of that stuff. So I look forward to that.
They showed
Yeah, I-
today on one of our presentations, they showed screening. There was a fence that had like green, I don't know if it was
Mesh,
fabric,
green mesh.
mesh like behind it, and Then the trees were between them and that and the residents or the road, and it was pretty good screening.
Well, the problem at Mead
That's-
Road is
that's
that
what we
it's an
need.
incline. And
Yeah.
it goes all the way up. And so at the top of the incline, if you have the structures that are 9 feet, and that's what they're saying in there, that they're 9 feet, I mean, you can see a lot of that. So the question,
Right.
that's why I look forward to the simulation to kind of see how that's gonna look.
You're
Right.
always gonna be able to, you're not gonna be able to hide that.
I did totally. I know. I
Right.
understand.
And,
So-
and also
so-
I'll recommend 2 rows of vegetation of trees and stuff instead of just one.
Right.
And to really define it a lot better than what we have.
So all the
That's what I
B
think.
and L comments for Mead Road, every single one of those comments is gonna have to be addressed.
Every
And we're
single
gonna
one
have,
should,
and we're gonna have to go through that all again.
hopefully it'll all be done the next time.
Hopefully it'll be done. It's amazing that they were able to find all those little inequities between the measurements of
Yeah.
things.
And-
Somebody went
Well,
through with a
that's
fine
why
tooth
we
comb.
hired them.
Yeah,
Basically.
we're
Right.
very
That's for
fortunate to
sure.
have them.
Yeah.
Well, and also, isn't the right of way for the access road still in question? Isn't the?
No, they're gonna do
Well,
a new one.
they're coming along
Work on
pretty
it.
well with that. They have they sent me a letter from the local cooperative extension, but they need to go higher and get a written approval from them. But
It's not settled. It's not settled yet.
it's not
No.
settled yet, but it's coming along.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's coming along. And we'll just let the attorneys deal with that.
Mm.
Anything
Just
else, Chris?
one last question. I probably nobody has an answer. Listening to the webinar today and listen very intently to the lawyer. And this lawyer is a landowner lawyer. He doesn't represent the companies. He represents the landowners. So he came from the landowner point of view. And I'm thinking that the Rich Road project, and I could be wrong here, but I think I understand that a lot of the landowners have signed leases already
They
with the
have.
companies. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering if any of them bothered to get a lawyer.
I hope so.
I
don't
mean,
know.
it was a very quick, you seemed to be very quick in the, the originating of the idea and then the signing of leases. So I'm just asking a question.
Mm.
I also want to tell you that I'm meeting with Josh Bennett, who is part of that Rich Road project about solar grazing,
Good.
probably in the next
Wouldn't
couple
that be
weeks. So
exciting?
that'd be fun to see what he has to say.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. All right, anything else?
Deb, you did a good job.
I'm a little hoarse.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You
Deb.
did great.
Thank you. I know I went droned on and on, but I'm glad to, get where we are. At least I feel we're getting on top of it.
Well, and obviously B&L, like what Betsy was saying, the idea of being able to really look at all of the individual little things. I mean, there's so many things that I don't even know in terms of what New York State is
All right.
recommending, whatever. I mean, we talk about, the sound abatement and all that other stuff. Well, what does that really mean in real world terms?
Mhm.
I mean, I'm very glad that
Mhm.
we have them. Very glad that,
Yeah, very happy for it too.
We
Yeah.
can thank our solar law for that.
yeah, very
Yes.
glad they have. it.
We
Yeah.
did a good job.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I'll entertain a motion for
Motion
adjournment.
to adjourn.
Thank
I
you.
second.
It's not me anymore. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi,
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
See you in a couple of weeks.
thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Deb.
Jenny, can you hold
Congratulations,
on for just a
John.
minute? You're
Oh,
welcome.
geez.
Jenny, can you hold on?
Thanks, Jenny.
Trying to leave.
Thank you, John.
Good job as usual.
Trying.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So we have John listed twice. Anyway, I wanted to touch base with you on who's gonna do what.
Sure.
If you talk to I don't know. who
I'll
we-
remain on the line.
All right, yeah, sure, that'd be good. Who to send out this, being the lead agency document. There's a
Yep.
whole list of agencies that it goes to. We find out if, if you would do that, that would be awesome. Let me just see where it is here. I can send the recommendations from BNL to both the Route 11 solar people and the Mead Road solar people. I can easily send that email out. So I'll do that.
Okay, great. So you'll
Um,
take care of those. All right.
I'll take care of those. You talk to the home occupation person and make sure
Yep.
she knows to come in a couple of weeks because we'll have questions for her. So we can get that approved.
You were
Yeah.
gonna check if that one of the big document could be sent to the Roses?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
going to check
yeah,
with the
Jenny, if you
lawyer.
do that.
I'm going to check with the lawyer to see what documentation can be shared publicly.
Okay. And I think that's it for follow-up, isn't it?
That sounds good. Yep, just, can you send me the resolution as shared tonight? And then I'll
Yeah.
make sure that all the right information is in it.
I'll scan what I did and send it to you,
Okay,
or I can stop by on Thursday.
that would be great because Karen needs to see you.
Okay, all right.
About
so
the
I'll stop by. What time are you in on Thursday?
I'm in the afternoons downstairs or I'm upstairs in the morning. So either way, you'll catch me. But if you want to catch me downstairs, come in the afternoon. Anytime after
All
1.
right. So
Was-
what time do you
was-
come in the morning, Jenny?
I'm in at 8:30 in the
Okay.
economic development office.
Okay. So I'll just pop in on Thursday and
Yep.
we'll get this done. Okay.
Wait,
Absolutely.
before you go, was anybody on the Route 11 project, any of the engineers, anybody, were they on the meeting tonight?
No.
I don't believe so.
Okay,
The only
Mm-mm.
people, I don't know Roger Bailey.
Roger Bailey's a local guy.
He's
Okay.
local guy.
And there
Mhm.
was somebody that just said Guy.
Yeah, I don't know who
Guy,
that
yeah.
is.
Okay,
So
well,
I just
if,
haven't
the-
listed this guy.
if the engineers or anybody, they would identify themselves, so you would have known.
I would think so, yeah.
I just
So
didn't
no,
see
I
them.
didn't, I didn't see anybody either.
Okay, thanks, Jen.
No problem.
All right, then I'll see you Thursday.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jenny.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye. Bye, John. Why are you
Bye.
up twice here?
Oh, yeah,
What's that?
John, you came in
John, you're up
twice.
twice.
I came in
And-
twice. I thought I explained it last time. I can do the Zoom on my phone, but I like to have the computer screen so I can see
Oh,
everybody.
That makes
That's-
sense.
Oh, perfect. That works out. That works out. All right, see you
No,
guys.
Well, listen, I'm very computer illiterate. I'm barely able to catch up with you here.
Oh,
So
John,
I had
it's
a lot
not
of stuff.
evident.
I
Not
think you're
evident
doing
at all.
very
you
well.
don't have any idea. I'm just carving
It's a
it
good thing
together.
Cody's close by, huh?
Well,
All right.
Cody's a big
I'll
help.
see you guys. Oh, he is?
Well,
Oh,
Cody's
all
a big
right.
help.
Okay. All right,
See you,
see
Deb.
ya.
Have a
Bye.
good
Bye.
night. Bye.